Rabo, we have the Rabobank itself, and then we have the foundation. So I'm based at the foundation. Now, the foundation, what we do is that we invest in smallholder farmers, but through intermediaries. These intermediaries are microfinances, SACCOs, cooperatives, and SMEs who engage directly with smallholder farmers. Our mandate is to see that the smallholder farmers improve on their productivity and eventually improve on their livelihood. So what we do is that we use instruments like debt, grants, and blended finance to be able to assist these intermediaries to be able to continue to champion their objective. Objective here could be access to, so that they can be able to offer farmers access to market, secured market. They can be able to offer the farmers the trainings to improve on quality and quantity. They can also be able to offer farmers inputs for them to be able to prepare for the new season and then eventually buy from them. So we offer working capital so that then these entrepreneurs or cooperatives can be able to pay farmers on time. And then we'll be patient enough and wait until these produce are sold for us then to be paid. So that's basically what we do. We offer impact financing to these entities that work directly with smaller farmers. And my role is then to identify these entities, prepare facilities for them then to be able to be offered to them, onboard them to so that completely from onboarding to monitoring and to loan preparation and all that. So that's basically what I do. It starts with partnership. So it's working with the local cooperatives, MFIs, and the micro insurance entities. So for us to be inclusive, then we have to work with all the value chain players. Now, the value chain players here, if you look at production up to market, then there are different players in between. There are those who just transport it. There are those who just aggregate it. There are those who then are involved in the process of planting and all that, and then there are those who are involved in the marketing. So we try as much as possible to have all these players included, and all these players, when you also look at the genders involved in that, in all those stages. So inclusivity here means that we work with all the value chain players to make sure that we achieve our objective. So, for example, in our end, what we look at is if we identify, say, an SME who then works with a smallholder farmer, then we will also be interested to know where do they sell the produce that they buy from smallholder farmers. What are they providing the smallholder farmers? What are the demographics of these smallholder farmers that they're engaging? And what exactly are they doing to make sure that these smallholder farmers feel inclusive? Are they involving the women? Are they involving the youth? Are they involving the men as well? Because when we talk about gender, then we talk about the whole human species. There are men, there are women, and there are youths. So that's inclusivity. That's how we do it. So we work with cooperatives, we work with microinsurance, we work with SMEs who then can reach out to this target group, community, groups that then have already been formed, and farmers then can be able to operate within those communities as well. Well, one of the biggest examples we learned that agricultural lending in Africa and impact lending in Africa is a high-risk dynamic product. And how you structure it, you consider when you're designing, and the people you involve matters a lot. Because for it to be accessible, then it has to be affordable. So affordability is one of the important things. And for it to have an impact, then you have to involve the most vulnerable. And these most vulnerable, unfortunately, they're always the women and marginalized communities. And for it to be scalable, that you must look at the viability of it being a long-term kind of activity. So however much we want it to be impactful, we also want it to be scalable. So the aspect of it becoming profitable is also important. So that then we can be able to create a viable, scalable, and productive venture for these entities. So that's basically what I've learned. It is very important for you to look at the risks, look at how then you can be able to mitigate the risks. It is important for you to involve the communities that you're targeting so then they can help you to identify the needs, because many a times you have seen that many products that have come up, but they're not channeled to the target market, or the target market don't even know about it. So then it becomes a flop. So what happens is that we involve the target market for us also to be able to understand what are the challenges, and from our basket, what are the solutions can we be able to help us to offer these entities or this target market for them to be able to uh, probably prepare, adopt, or even uh, be ready to face the challenges that come with climate as it is. We have an array of products that we use. We have grants which we can be able to use to de-risk the facility that we give, which will be a loan. We can be able to also use guarantees as well, a mixture of those as well. So then it becomes easier for us then to de-risk the facilities that we give as well. So measuring, so it is as an institution, we value the impact more than the returns. The returns could be little, but the impact is greater. Then, as an institution, we can then be able to invest in us. So we always have a scale where we have a model where we input all the details we get from these entities that we want to work with, and look at, then we can be able to score, look at what the impact we would like to achieve. Will these farmers be able to get better price for their produce? Will there be an increase in their production? Will they then eventually then be more income into their pockets? Because eventually the impact that you want to see is that these farmers can be able to take care of their livelihoods. If they can be able to feed their kids, they take their kids to school, take care of their medical and housing, then their lives improve. And how can we make their lives improve is when they have more money in their pockets. So a consistent kind of secured market is good, so that eventually when they harvest, the post-harvest loss is minimized. So then we are assured that the farmers' lives will improve eventually. If they continue producing the same quantity at the same price, or even higher quantity at the same price, then more money into their pockets. Then what we also look at is the risk aspect in terms of scalability, in terms of returns. How soon can we expect returns? It could be longer, but do we see that there's a possibility of it then becoming profitable in the near future? So those are the things that we look at. Yeah, I think the financial aspect is important for them to be trained on, because as an impact investor, there is an aspect of returns that I also expect. So it is important that they are trained on that, and they get to understand how then they can be able to convert this impact case into a financial business. Because once then you can be able to convert that into a financial aspect, then it becomes more attractive for other investors. It might not necessarily be impact investors, but then you can be able to scale your business, because look at what you're doing as a business. Then you can be able to attract more financing. Because at the moment, the problem is that majority of agricultural activities are rain fed. Now, if they're rain fed, then there are risks associated with that. So, if there are risks associated with that, it makes some investors shy away from investing in such kind of businesses. So, it is important for you to identify such risks. How are you going to mitigate them? Training on basically building your business to becoming a venture than becoming a social kind of economic. It should be a socio-economic activity. The social aspect should be there, but the economic aspect is also important. So that is very important for those who are offering technical assistance. Of course, then they can also be able to help them to adopt to affordable climate climate adoption, or climate response, or climate recovery for them to absorb these shocks that come with it. So it's also important that that is covered. Of course, what we are looking at right now is that we cannot be able to achieve this on our own. So we are also working with other partners to de-risk some of the challenges that we see. If someone is coming with, say, a technical assistant aspect, and then we come in with a grant, because once they are technically assisted, then they need to use those expertise that they have gained to be able to hone this into the market. So then the working capital need comes to help them be able to achieve that. If they have been helped, for example, with a grant to, say, implement organic training, or perhaps comply with the UDR policy that now is being implemented in Europe starting next year. So then after that, then what next? They need to access that market. So there must be a continuity after the training, after the technical assistant. What is the next step? They need to move to the market. So moving to the market, so it should be an end-to-end kind of assistance. So once they're trained on these, then there should be some more working capital facility or financing for them then to be able to export these produces or sell these produces or expand on what, because then that we can be able to get sustainability. We have worked with very many. I can mention quite a number. We started with the likes of Apollo. We have worked with Agri Wallet, who are offering farmers a platform for them to save and borrow and be able to also provide them with the drought resistance kind of seedlings. So those two aspects were covered, the climate and then the social aspect as well. We also have quite a number, like now we're working with Soko Fresh in Kenya. We're working with exotic wine nuts. There are quite a number of partners that we work with in the whole of East Africa. If you look at even agroforestry, we also partnered with the One Acre Fund to implement an agroforestry project in Zambia. So there are numerous examples that I can be able to give of what we are doing as Rubber Foundation. I think blended finance is still going to play a role, and it's very important for us to also include other value chain players. I keep saying that finance is not a bullet, it's not a silver bullet that will kill everything. There is a lot of other aspects that need to come in. It must be affordable. We have to evaluate the risk profiling, understanding the local context, the vulnerability of these climates. It must be gender and social inclusive, and it must be scalable. For it to make sense, we must include insurance. We must include the communities that we want to work with. Because if they don't understand that these products are out there, then we cannot be able to achieve much. Because unless we work together, then we can never reach the same destination. Because everybody knows about climate. Everybody knows about the challenges that farmers face, but everybody has got their own solution towards the same problem. So unless we work together, we come together and form kind of a coalition or a group of individuals or organization, or we form kind of products that can de-risk, so that then we can have the commercial investors also coming in, our impact investors playing a role, and the government also playing a role. Then also the smaller farmers coming in to understand what are the opportunities for them to explore, to be able to adapt to the shocks, to be able to prepare and recover from them. Then we'll never achieve the full security that we were looking at. Because the most ultimate important benefit that we can be able to write home about is when we see that we have food security in Africa, food security in the communities that we come in. It's when we see that these smallholder farmers can be able to feed themselves and can be able to feed the nation. Then we can then be able to say that we have achieved the ultimate goal that we wanted to achieve with all these solutions that we have. If you look at Kenya, for example, there are those value chains that have strong cooperatives. If you look at tea, if you look at coffee, if you look at dairy, we can emulate the same and then form cooperatives in different value chains. Like, say, we can have it in potato, we can have it in uh, sugarcane, and all that. So then those platforms can be used to be able to disseminate this information, because where cooperatives are located, then farmers tend to be associated with certain cooperatives. We can use those platforms to be able to train the farmers. We can also use digital platforms as well, because currently, Kenya, to be precise, internet access, smartphone access, each and every home you might find the smartphone access to it, and internet is available. So we can use those ones. We can use digital, community leaders as well, because in each and every community, there are those leaders. They could be the chiefs, they could be the anybody that is given a bit of a leadership responsibility in a community, in a village. If you look at the Nyumba Kumi such kind of platforms can also farmer that you can think about. But this information should be readily available, and it should be affordable, or if not free. So then farmers can be able to say that, hey, I want to venture into, say, cowpeas. And in this village where I am, this is the weather conditions. Is it conducive for me to do cowpeas? Then the platform should also be able to tell you, if you do cowpeas, these are the markets readily available for these cowpeas. You can be able to sell them to this X, Y, and Z. These are the prices that you'll be able to get. So such kind of information, there are those who already have them. There are digitalized platforms that already have such kind of information. But it's how accessible it is to the smaller farmers that is where the problem is. It's not yet affordable. And if it is affordable, then the farmers don't even know about it. So yes, so then some kind of this sensitization is to happen. So then the farmers know where to get what information, when they need it, and how they can be able to use it. Absolutely. So the digital platforms I'm talking about, AI is a frontier, and you can be able to see that a lot of our youths are using AI to find information. So yes, for the new young farmers that we are targeting, the youth who are coming into agriculture, because if you know the dynamics, the demographic of our farmers are 55 and above. So where are we going to get the new farmers? And these are the youth. So this information should also be available in all the digital platforms. AI would play a role so that then we can be able to even get the weather condition of where I am at the moment. It can be able to predict for me the weather for the next 10 years, or the next 1 week, or the next 2 months. I can be able to know that, okay, if I'm planting potatoes, is this the right conditions, weather, what is the best quality seedlings that I would need for this kind of weather? What is it that I need to be able to make economics sense for X number of pieces of land that I have? Should I continue to bring more and all that? So all this information should be readily available. And I believe that AI is a new thing that is coming in. With AI, you can be able to get micro insurance quotes as well. With the AI, you can be able to look at models like pay as you go. Those are all AI aspects. So yes, so absolutely, AI is going to be a new changer of how then we look at agriculture in the coming years. Inclusive finance is not just about money. It's about empowering communities to lead their own adaptation journey. We shouldn't force them to adopt new journeys that have been achieved somewhere else. Each and every community should be able to come up with their own adaptation journey. With the right tools and partnership, we can build a more resilient and equitable